At the conclusion of the course, it's time to then submit those final grades to the administration. In some cases, that would be a registrar. So to do that, we'll first access the grade grid by clicking on the grade grid. And at this point, we'll need to review to make sure all of the grades have been entered. Fortunately, the system helps us with that, but we're just going to do a quick check. So one way to check would be to scroll over and look at those scores and make sure that they're what you want them to be. And then you can get to the end and you'll see the final grade recommendation. And this is based on the system taking all of the points and taking those total points against the total points that were available for the student to earn. And it does that percentage and then calculates that percentage and telling us what that is. So in this case, the student has earned a B, and I've already accepted this one, or I'm getting ready to accept it. So I'm able to see what those are. As I scroll down, you can see that I'm able to accept a lot of these, but we have some that I'm unable to do anything with. And that's because, if I scroll back over here, I have grades missing. So I have some grades I have not yet published. So therefore, I am unable to look at that final grade recommendation. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add those grades in. So I'm going to put the scores in this. I'm going to say 24, 24, and 24. So at this point, I've added those scores, but let's check to see if we can do anything with it. We still can't. And that's because we must publish those to the student. Publishing them really is what is making so that the system knows that you're really ready to go to the next step. So if you don't publish, you cannot move to the next step in doing those final grades. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and publish these to the student because I want them to see those. And then I'm going to scroll back to the top. You'll notice now I'm able to accept them. So again, you can see these two I've already accepted. That means that I have looked at that grade and said, yes, that student in fact did earn a B for the class. So I'm very comfortable with that. So what I'm going to do now is go through and accept all those grades as I check them. Now this is a process that you'll have to think about. How do you want to do that? Do you want to review assignments? Do you think you're going to make adjustments? Do you need to discuss that with other faculty? But at this point, if you don't have any issues, you can simply go through and do the accept. So I'm going to go ahead and click accept, and you can see that it goes into the accepted mode and turns green. So I'm going to start doing those. But again, if you had not finished your grades, you would not be able to do this. So accept, accept. When we get to the bottom, I'll show you one that we can look at together as well. So let's say, I'm going to click a couple more here. Okay, so let's look at this. 88.67. That's very close to being a 90, which would be an A. But it's actually right now, it's a pretty solid B. It's not actually a B plus, but it's a B. Let's say that you really wanted to give that student an A. In the system, you are allowed to override the recommended final grade. As an instructor, you have the opportunity to do that because we say, hey, you might say that, you know, that student worked so hard. Yes, I'm going to give them that percentage point or 2 percentage points. This one's not as close as some, but if, you know, if it were 89.5, you might say, yep, I'm going to let them have that 90 and let them have that A. So that is a choice that you can make. The system does not force you to use the calculated grade. So let's say I wanted to do that. I'm going to click on this down arrow, and I'm going to take a look at those final grades. So I'm going to say yes. In fact, instead of a B, this student worked so hard, I'm going to give them an A. So I can make that choice rather than giving them the B. Now, if I do that, I do need to justify it in the sense of just putting a note that says, you know, student, let's say the student worked very hard. And that would be something that we can do. You can also see that you also have the other grades that are possible in the system are also listed here. A, B, C, D, E, which is the same as a failing grade. Incomplete also, and then we have a couple of others that are specific designations depending on the organization that you work for. But I would say the ones to concentrate will be on I, which is incomplete, A, B, C, D, and E. It would be important to talk to your organization about what you should use in those special situations that are not regular calculated grades. So once I'm done with that, I can close this, and I have now accepted that. By changing it, I have now accepted that as that final grade. So because I've done this, we now have a new option. This new option in green here is the accepted final grades to publish. And what this means is I am ready now to submit those to the administration. Again, that could be an admin within your organization, or it could possibly be to a registrar. So to do that, I'm going to click Submit Final Grades, and that will complete the grading process. Once that's done, it'll say now the grade grid is read only. So I've now basically locked this out and completed those grades. At this point, if changes need to be made, you will need to contact the administration or the registrar to make that change. Everybody makes errors, but you'll just need to keep in mind that the system will not allow you to make a change, but you can go back and certainly talk to someone and say, hey, I made an error, or this new information has come to light and I need to make a change. So, but again, at this point, it's now locked out. But you now also have 100% scored, so you have scored all of them, and you have now submitted final grades to the administration or the registrar.